Hello, Quesnel, and welcome to QToday. I'm Allison Duddy.
And I'm Ron Campbell, and this is our show for January 22nd.
Coming up on today's show, our top story from The Observer, Taseko Mines provides an update on new Prosperity Mine, and the SPCA presents their year-end report.
And coming up, we're going to have a report on the recent NDP nominations that were held here on the weekend, and Adrian Dick was in town.
All right, here at QToday, we bring you the recent news provided by our partnership with the Quesnel Cariboo Observer, combined with a bit of our own commentary. And we also bring you our own stories from the community. And remember, we do just give the highlights here at QToday, so if you want to get all the details, pick up your copy of the Cariboo Observer. Over to Ron here for the news.
Okay, thank you, Allison.
You're welcome.
The Cariboo Observer had a great big article on the recent attendance at the Chamber of Commerce by Gibraltar Mines person Brian Battison. He spoke to the members and gave them an overview on the mines, production, and an update on the proposed Prosperity mine. He said, highlighted Gibraltar's impact over the last 5 years, and it included a $1.2 billion in total mine revenue, $975 million in the GDP generated for BC, and a $576 million increase in consumer spending. He went on to say that Taseko supplier expenditures by region, with 34% allocated to the BC Interior and the Cariboo. Taseko purchased more than $82.5 million from the Interior Cariboo region in a 12-month period. And he went on to say that the employees' buying power and 97% of Taseko's wages are paid to those living in Williams Lake, Quesnel, 100 Mile House, with a figure of $48 million in annual wages. Battison also discussed the new Prosperity Mine, saying that at the heart of that plan is a $300 million commitment to mitigate environmental impacts. The environmental impact statement submitted to the Canadian Environmental Assessment Agency in October of last year details a commitment to protect Fish Lake, mitigate impacts to the environment, and address First Nations concern. Battison said if Prosperity is approved, the real GDP will increase by $11 billion, adding another 57,000 gainfully employed people over the mine's 20-year lifespan. Battison spoke to concerns of the First Nation, but said Taseko believes new Prosperity will dramatically benefit First Nations. The mine represents local opportunity for jobs, training, business development, and community benefits. Next steps include a federal review of the environmental impact statement and a panel to conduct public hearings. Provincial requirements include amending the existing environmental assessment certificate. No dates have yet been set for public hearings. That's going to be an ongoing story here in the north.
Definitely. Thanks for that, Ron.
You're welcome.
So last Tuesday night, the BC SPCA presented their operations report to the Joint Planning Committee. The SPCA reported their figures, which showed a slight decrease in the number of animals coming into the facility, dropping from 816 in 2011 to 801 in 2012. They also showed a decrease in adoptions. 548 animals were adopted in 2011, down to 515 in 2012. They received 100 separate calls about complaints of animal cruelty, of which 79 required investigation by their cruelty department. In terms of community outreach, the Quesnel District SPCA worked with Seasons House, the Salvation Army, and set up educational booths. Youth involvement is important to the SPCA, and in 2012 they held classroom presentations, worked with the Girl Guides, and they held a summer camp for kids. At their annual Pause for a Cause event, they raised $2,595. And although they did raise some money, the SPCA is still facing a deficit, however. In 2010, they ran at a $42,852 deficit. In 2011, they saw an $85,166 operating deficit. And last year in 2012, the SPCA faced an estimated $105,000 operating deficit. And you can check out the report, all the details on the city website if you so desire.
Allison, that's one group that always seems to be running at a deficit. People don't understand that they don't have to just give money. They can go up there with dog food.
Oh.
They can volunteer their time to help walk dogs and so forth.
You bet.
Being a pet owner, I can't support the SPCA enough.
I totally agree with you there, Ron. Definitely.
So the Chamber of Commerce has made the news again. It's recently appointed their directors and new executive for 2013. Graham Armstrong of Edward Jones Financial is stepping into the role of Chamber President, with William Lacey of Remax Quesnel and Jim Roththorn of Mr. Mike's filling in the roles of first and second vice presidents, respectively. Crystal Shepherd of Central BC's Academy of Nail Technology is entering her second term as treasurer. New directors of the Chamber of Commerce are Darcy Henderson of West Fraser Mills Limited, Doug Larson of the College of New Caledonia, Linda Atkinson of Farmed, and Miguel Chavez of Quesnel Toyota. Returning directors are Deb Quick of Adventures North Tours, Flight Center BC, Greg Andrews of Andrews Insurance, and Rob Mortray of the Sandman Hotel, and Sandra Erickson of Urban Women. If you have any concerns about business in Quesnel, the Chamber of Commerce is always willing to hear your concerns and work with all levels of government as an advocate for a prosperous community. To become a member of the Chamber or voice your concerns, contact Chamber Manager Cara Perdue at 250-992-7262, or you can reach them on the net at qchamber@quesnelbc.com.
All right. So moving along, it's been 4 months since the Seniors Advocacy Service began offering touchscreen computer awareness, and already several people have taken advantage of the service. Designed to assist people either booked for their Drive Able assessment or those wanting to be prepared should they be required to take the test. So far, Lyle Orchison, principal presenter of the program, has assisted 15 people with 2 sessions each. The first session familiarizes the client with the touch screen and finger pad. Orchison said they introduced the technology through playing games, which test for various cognitive competencies, all while having fun. The second session, which is booked within 2 weeks of the first, the client reviews the Drive Able practice session, which covers the 6 assessment tasks, including motor speed and control, span of attention field, spatial judgment and decision making, speed of attentional shifting, executive functioning, and identification of driving situations. Drive Able's in-office assessment tool is a science-based driving evaluation designed to identify at-risk drivers regardless of age. A recommendation for the assessment may come from a person's family physician, concerned family members, or others. At a recent Council of Senior Citizens Organizations, Orchison reviewed statistics which suggest that of the letters sent to 80 years plus individuals, only 2% were further referred to Drive Able assessment. So I think a lot of people think once you turn 80, you're going to have to do it.
Yes.
And realistically, that's not so. Just turning 80 doesn't automatically send you to Drive Able, Orchison said. Now, anyone interested in the free touchscreen program or to book an appointment for your 2 sessions, you can call 747-8363. You need to leave a message and someone will get back to you.
Allison, it's still a concern for the seniors. At a recent meeting of the Voice for Seniors for the Cariboo,
Yep.
they were still bringing up this Drive Able. The fact that there's one in Williams Lake, one in Prince George, but no outlet here in Quesnel means that we have to go to one of the other 2 communities to do our test and also to do the computer thing. So
Exactly.
it's still a concern for those of us getting close to 80.
No, you're not. You can't be.
Well, we'll have to take off a few years. Into sports. Our sports to start off today is going to be talking about boxing. The Bushy Lake Hall has outgrown the boxing club's attendance, and so they are looking for a new venue. They were at the senior center for a while, but they're cannot no longer put the ring up because it was damaging the floors. Ray Daggett said that the center created a ban because of that, and the boxing club then moved to Bushy Lake, where they held competitions ever since. Though Coach Wally Dorn and the club have felt at home there, the club's events are becoming too big, resulting in crowded houses. To alleviate the problem, Dorn has been looking for new places to host a bigger event and have it a bit closer to town. Currently, the club is exploring opportunities to host events at Coraloo. Among other possibilities, the Twin Arenas are not being considered because Dorn has a fear for the temperature. To keep the ice cold will be unpleasant for his boxers. That's the boxers, not his boxers. They're closed only in shorts. Though Dorn is hoping to find a new home for the next Rumble, he is keeping an eye on the Bushy Lake Hall as a backup. Also, a quick update on some other sports events that have been happening here. Our Roos know who their competition is going to be in the playoffs. It's the ice. It left me. But anyway, they're in the playoffs.
Great.
And also just returning home from a very successful golden trip from Calgary. Our under 19 in Ringette won gold there, and we'll have more of that, I'm sure, in Thursday's show.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron. So also, excuse me, in sports, Cole Stanley, who plays defense on the Bantam Thunder, was placed on the preliminary ranking for the Minor Hockey Player of the Year award late in December. The award goes to the BC minor hockey player who best exemplifies sportsmanship, leadership, hockey ability, and performance, and school and community participation. So congratulations to Cole Stanley for that. So next up, last Sunday, the Legion was the site of a race between Duncan Barnett, former member of the Cariboo Regional District, and Sushil Tapar, City Councillor for the City of Quesnel. The winner would become the candidate for the New Democratic Party in the May provincial election. The nomination meeting started with both candidates speaking. Sushil Tapar first.
The reason I am running, by sitting on council, I have seen again and again, and what we will get in Quesnel or Cariboo. We get a lot of lip service and not much substance to it. So when we heard a slogan before, a heartland, and I thought there will be money coming to us for investment, we basically left with heartland. And then I thought $1 billion for Fine Beetle, we'll get that. I was very excited. Sitting on the council, our problems will get solved, we will get those, so we can have education, everything for our families. So I haven't seen that $1 billion trickle down, even though if we get a couple $1 million, never mind billion.
Then Duncan Barnett gave his words to the group.
A modern government must have a vision that covers social, economic, and environmental values, and they must have a plan with common sense, practical steps to realize that vision. And I think that BC and the Adrian Dix New Democrats have that vision. It's called Sustainable BC.
An appreciative audience then headed to the voting booth. And while the group was waiting for the results, a special guest, the leader of the NDP, who had flown in for the meeting.
The NDP has never won government in this province without winning seats here in the Cariboo. These seats are essential to us winning the next election. We have to win here to succeed across our province, to bring change to our province, to say to the Liberal Party that they, even though they act like they're a permanent government, they're not a permanent government. This is our government in British Columbia. We have to win here. I think the problems facing us today, many of the significant problems facing us today, from job creation to supporting communities, to ensuring that young people have the skills they need for the jobs of the future, or ensuring that the elderly, that seniors have every opportunity to live their lives in the fullest path possible manner. That these problems today require a broader support and a broader mandate than ever before.
After Dick spoke, the results were announced.
I'm happy to declare the NDP candidate and next MLA for Cariboo North to be Duncan Barnett.
I'm going to work hard for you. I expect you to call me and invite me to your groups or meetings and debates, and let's get some discussion happening, get people talking about these issues, get them engaged.
After the event, our new political team of Mitch Vick and Scott Elliott spoke to Barnett and Dix. Here's Scott with Adrian Dix, followed by Duncan Barnett.
Pretty exciting day in Quesnel here.
It's a great day, just a huge turnout here today. We've got a great candidate, and I think Duncan and our team are going to do a great job. And so there's real enthusiasm here. I think people want to see a change in BC, but we don't want to win that change just because people don't like the premier, they don't like the government. We're offering positive change in a constructive campaign, and that's, I think, what Duncan's about, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay, so we should mention for the people too that Duncan Barnett won this. I think it was probably a close race. And yeah, I'm understanding everything you're saying. One of the things that you touched on was the caribou being essential. And I think that's pretty interesting as well.
I think if you look at past BC elections, this is an essential area for the province for all the parties, but for the NDP in particular. I mean, we have never won an election without winning here. We have, I think, excellent candidates in North and South now, and Duncan Barnett and Charlie Wise. And this region is going to be critically important. And I think the election is going to be really important for the region because the decisions, what this region will need in the next few years is a government that's able to stand up for the region and MLAs that are going to be able to stand up for the region. And that's it's an important time. The issues relating to forestry, relating to mining, relating to the environment, relating to healthcare and education, they're critical for the lives of communities here in the region. And so having these candidates, I think, is going to be really important. So it's not just important, obviously, because if we need to win Cariboo North to win a new government in BC to defeat the Liberal government, but also important for people here to be represented and to see their concerns represented at a crucial time.
It's a very exciting day, and it's going to be fun. And that's what we're going to be about, is we want to run a positive campaign for change, and we're going to have fun doing it, and we're going to get people engaged. We're going to win this election.
Okay, good for you. What's your next step? Where do you go from here?
Well, going to visit with a few people, be heading back down to the other end of the riding tonight, and then we get our campaign underway. We've got some organizing to do, a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that want to help and get the vote out. So that's the next step, is to get all that in gear.
Yeah, okay. I know you're going to have just a ton of things coming up here in the future. It's probably going to change your life a little bit, maybe take some time away from the farm.
It is going to change my life a bit. I'm expecting that somebody else is probably going to be looking after the cows for a while.
Okay.
That'll become a bit of a luxury for me. I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Quesnel. I do live down at the south end of the riding, and for people that have wondered about how this riding gets the shape it does, I figured it out. It's a watershed basis, because I live at the Horsefly end. Horsefly flows into the Quesnel Lake. Quesnel River flows into the Fraser at the city of Quesnel, just like the Blackwater does, so it actually all makes sense. Anyways, I will be here at the confluence of the rivers, campaigning quite often, I expect.
And just like politics, everything from here trickles down to Vancouver eventually.
Yes, and then it all gets down to Vancouver, yes.
Adrian Dix mentioned that the Cariboo North is essential to their campaign. He really feels that this is a very important area.
Well, he touched on it. If you look back at our record, the Cariboo has usually always had someone in government, And we've had some excellent MLAs in the past years, and I'm thinking of people like Alex Fraser and David Zernhilt, and people in the Cariboo are used to having their voices heard, their issues recognized, and that's because they contribute an awful lot to this province. The Cariboo is a wonderful part of the province, and I am damn proud to be nominated.
Excellent.
All right, so Mitch and Scott will continue to provide political coverage for this election. They're presently planning interviews with the other candidates, so look forward to more on that.
Yes, I'm sorry I spoiled your surprise, but I thought everybody knew he was in town.
I think
No,
almost
Adrian,
everybody probably
I
did
think
know
so,
he was
yeah.
in town. You're right.
Those are going to be some interesting stories coming up from the candidates,
Most
because there are
definitely.
some very strong candidates there, with Corley Oakes for Liberal, and of course our present MLA Bob Simpson, who is sitting as an independent. So it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out.
Definitely, and we'll have it for you on QToday.
We will. And now let's take a look at our community calendar.
All right, today as we leave you, let's listen to some more music from the November Christmas concert at the North Star Baptist Church.
Well, that's it for this show. We want to hear from you with your story and your comments on our show. How are we doing? And if you feel something is very important to you, I'm sure that the viewers out there will feel the same way. So email us at qtoday@qcatv.ca with your story. You wish to cover it, or we can cover it for you, just so that the community would love to know about that particular story.
You bet. And remember,
Q Today is about
Quinnell talking to Quinnell. Have a great day. Bye for now.
so long.
This next one is called One Note Samba. It's a little more upbeat. Pick it up. We are having technical difficulties. Please stand by.